A very simple one-word response from Elon Musk related to this tweet: terrible. Now, before I dig into this one and explain what's terrible, can I just say, I don't want to teach anyone to suck eggs. I think I've built a nice elite community here. So everybody who's watching this knows my feelings about the matter. I think it's almost pathetic. It's a little bit trivial and trite to find individual instances, where you'll say, oh, look at this, a black man racially abused me granny and nothing happened to him, but then she said something in response and she got 2 years in jail, that type of thing. At this point, after the last sort of 10 years, we are replete with incidents like this. So it's almost boring, but it is a big scandal today, and I'm going to make a video about it and brief you as to what's happened. But just remember what I've been telling you all along. If the British government spent 25 years lying to the people and covering up for the industrial scale torture and sexual abuse of children just because the people doing it were ethnic minorities, why is any of this going to be a surprise to you? It's not, is it? It's almost, shall I turn it off now? No. What else are we going to do today? Right, the tweet he was responding to was this. You really could not make it up. Cliff Mitchell applied to join the police in 2020, but was rejected because he was previously found guilty of the obvious. The obvious on a child. However, a diversity panel overturned the decision and he joined the Met Police anyway. He went on to surprise sex 2 more victims, including a child under the age of 13. He was sacked from the police and given a minimum sentence of 14 years. Well, you don't need to make it up, do you? You can just point at what happened between 1997 and 2003, and it's still going on now. We just got the worst of it then. And say, yeah, this is what happens. This is what happens. If you've got a tan, the British government, British politicians, British judges, and British lawyers help cover up your crimes and facilitate you doing more of them. That is how captured by this insane woke diversity pyramid the leaders of the Anglosphere are. Well, mercifully in the United States, those leaders have since been turfed out of office, but the civil service is still rampacked with them. And even The Guardian has been forced to cover it. Failure to properly vet police officers resulted in serial, not just occasional diddlers, serial surprise sex enthusiasts within the Met ranks. Abandoning checks on staff and officers was a dereliction of the Met's duty to keep London safe. It continues, serial diddlers, including David Carrick, were left in the ranks of the Met Police because of a failure to carry out necessary vetting on thousands of officers. An internal review by the force found it had lowered vetting checks into the backgrounds of prospective and existing police officers between 2013 and 2023. What's interesting is, right, the Guardian story doesn't tell you the truth. Because it's the Guardian, obviously they don't want to mention anything to do with DEI and race politics, but I'll tell you the truth. And Stephen Pollard in The Telegraph more or less tells you the truth, but I'll paraphrase because I don't want to have to sit and read the entire article. In a nutshell, what we find out from reading this is that an internal Met Police review revealed that over 5,000 officers and staff weren't vetted, and one of them was the aforementioned Mr. Mitchell from the original tweet. He was arrested in 2017 for surprise sexing a child, but then was approved by a special panel set up in 2019 of senior officers and community reps aimed at reducing rejections among ethnic minorities. That is what happened. So this oxygen thief right here was known to be a violent child enjoyer, right? But they let him in anyway because community leaders and senior officers said, oh, we can't reject people if they're ethnic minorities. This means they rushed through 20,000 new officers, let through this walking toilet, and also the aforementioned David Carrick, who, 13 women testified against him, but you can't know how many people's lives he ruined. So there you go, that's it, summed up as short and succinctly as I could do it. It's still happening. It's still happening. woke politics, treacherous curs, dogs like Starmer and all of his cronies in the CPS, they are letting and encouraging violent, I just can't think of any more synonyms without saying the R word, struggle snuggle advocates. They're letting them brutalise you. Women, if there's any women watching, the British government's in on it. The politicians and the lawyers and the judges and the senior police officers and the civil servants and the community leaders, they're in on it. They're helping them brutalise and victimise women because most special interest groups say, oh, well, if you've got a bit of a tan, you can't have ever done anything wrong. So this maggot and thousands like him were unleashed on the public when we knew they'd already been convicted for attacking women. Think of that. It's unbelievable. It's like, this is a comedy channel, but it writes itself. This type of stuff is like, if it was on Brass Eye 25 years ago, people would be splitting the sides laughing at it. It's just not quite as funny in 2026 because it's all true. So that's the ins and outs of the case. I'll put the links to the stories in there if you want to read them in full. It really is unbelievable. Genuinely. So as I keep saying, as long as screaming socialists, communists, and DEI activists are running the show in the United Kingdom, if you're a woman, you want to be wearing your cast iron knickers, get your husband to eat the key on your chastity belt and tool yourself up with whatever legal weapons are necessary, or just like jam a mouse trap up your gusset and hope for the best, because you're not getting, not only are you getting any help from the state, they are enabling people like this and unleashing them on the public with a badge and a tit helmet and a truncheon. But only thing is, he's not going to wrap this truncheon around your head. He's going to stuff it somewhere else, if you get my drift. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. If you sat there rubbing your eyes going, surely, Bootneck, surely this can't be true, read the stories in full down there. I've surmised pretty much perfectly exactly what's happening. I tell you no lies, ladies and gentlemen. It's all down there. Read it and weep. All right? Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, Mr. Zucker Twat or anyone else who's getting angry because they don't like facts that contravene their ludicrous worldview. I'm sure Starmer would have the bobbies round if I was unlucky enough to be living in the UK at this point. But that's what happened. It's all factually accurate. You're welcome. Okay? Thanks for watching, ladies and gents. Remember, if you're unlucky enough to have a canny set of threepenny bits, I'm only half joking. You want to take as many precautions as you possibly can. And I wouldn't go into a room with a copper in the UK at this point. Especially if he looks like he's a regular on the tanning tubes, if you get my drift. All right? Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.